Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all glory, all praises to the good and terrible power, Yahweh, right? And we do so by Sham, not by Shem, but by Sham Hamashiach Yahushai. It's your brother Sadiq back at you again with another second night class, Whisper from the End, right? So let's go ahead and get right on into it. You know, we also want to give a special honor, special double shout out, double honors to the elders who rule world, who have taught us this information and has passed it down to us so we may have it today, right? So as always, let's open up with the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17, right? The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. Whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all by Sham Hamashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Sham Hamashiach Yahushai. So everything that we say, everything we do it all in the name of the anointed Savior, right? So we come to you with a spiritual message, right? This is not chiefly about being carnal, but most importantly about being spiritual, right? We know we have been going on for months now talking about Baalord, and we're trying to get our people to understand that using these words, using these names, what you're doing is that you're invoking a demon, and you're invoking this demon, and it's going to have pretty much rulership and dominion over your life, right? So this presentation was created to reveal a single terrifying truth: nothing has changed. The abhorrent practice of child sacrifice whispered about in ancient texts did not end. It merely changed its disguise. The same ritual performed for the same dark entities continue in our world today, hidden in plain sight. The gods of the ancient world are still being worshipped. The entity known as Moloch, and actually, you know what? I got something. Before I continue, let me make sure I pull this up real quick before I continue on. Let me see, where's it at? Okay, yeah. Little sound effect. Let me see. Let me see if I got my sound effect working. All right, cool. I got my little sound effect, right? All right, so it says, the gods of the ancient world are being worshipped. The entity known as and the entity known as Baal are not distinct demons of a forgotten history. They are active forces. What you must understand is that these names, Moloch and Baal, which means Lord, this worship is carried out by the same global elite, a cabal, a secret political clique or fraction that maintains its power through an unbroken covenant, a direct spiritual bloodline to their master, the deceiver Satan, and it will be proven with chilling clarity how the elite continue to perform the very same ceremonies today. Like I said, this is a spiritual thing. Therefore, we must be precise in our language to break this ancient spell. We must stop using the title Lord, for in doing so, we are unknowingly giving reverence to Baal and the very demons that demand the offerings of innocence. The proper and pure designation for the one true creator is and has always been the Most High Yahweh. As we demonstrate the evidence in undeniable, it is our duty now more than ever in these last days to reject the language of the enemy and give all praise and glory only to the Most High. So the unbroken covenant, Moloch, modern elites, and the sacrifice of innocence, right? There are ancient evils that do not die. They merely lie dormant in the shadows, festering in the highest echelons of power, waiting for a new host. One such evil has a name whispered in the most damning passages of scriptures. He is the archon ruler of child sacrifice, the demon god who demands innocence upon the altar of power. This presentation will not argue a thesis. It will unveil a pattern hidden in plain sight, tracing the dark thread of ritual from the blood-soaked altars of the Old Testament to the profane sanctuaries of the modern global elite. So this is how serious this thing is. While we must know what we're calling on, because we are literally enchanting a spiritual demon by continuing to use these names right here, using these words, right? We will journey into the scriptural abyss, the true nature of Moloch's cult, the phantom mentis, the bizarre rituals and whispered names in the halls of power, the modern temple, the island of sins, ruled by a high priest of depravity. Part 1, the profane sacrament of Moloch. Right? To identify a modern demon, one must understand its ancient form. The sacred text screams with dire warnings. The central rite is inscribed in stone. It is the offering of one's own seed, one's children to be passed through the fire. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire, to Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Most High. So you see right here in the Torah, in the book of Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 21, we are told that we are not supposed to give our seed unto Molech, right? Which is another name for Lord and Baal. We are not supposed to sacrifice our children unto any other power except for the Most High. But that's what we do. When we so ignorantly use the term Lord, you are literally calling everything that comes behind that. Child sacrifice, orgies. You're calling on all types of wickedness. That's what you're calling on when you say Lord, because this is who you're giving your power to. The ultimate transgression was not just the act of the conspiracy of silence that enabled it. A curse was reserved for those who knew and did nothing. You see that? So by us knowing that we're not supposed to use this, and us not telling you that you're not supposed to be saying this, what we are doing is bringing the curse upon ourselves as well. But once we inform you and let it be known that, hey, stop using Lord, stop using Amen, right? Because it's Zeus's last name. We are now taking the blood off of our hands, right? Let me pull up a quick precept that I forgot to put on the screen so we can know why I'm spelling it out. Because this is very, very, very important that we understand this. This is out of the this is the Old Testament. The Old Testament, which your Christian pastor tells you is done away with. He tells you it's done away with, so you don't know that when you say Lord, you're literally calling on Moloch. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 13, and this is out of the Old Testament. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect. To be circumspect, that means to be aware, be cautious, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. So this is why we spelling it. This is why we don't say these names, because the Most High commanded us in the Old Testament not to say these names. So it says those who hid their eyes, and if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, right? That means you pretty much, you're like, oh, I didn't see it, I didn't hear it. You don't see these things happening, and you don't say nothing about it. Let me read that again from the top. And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and kill him not. So the Old Testament actually says a man that gives his seed over, the man that gives his seed over to Molech, right? They should be put to death. That's the punishment for that, right? That's the punishment for that. And I'm trying to make sure I go nice and slow for everybody. If I'm going too fast, please put a 1 in the chat and say, slow down, you're going a little too fast, right? Then I will set my face against that man and against his family and will cut him off. You hear that? And will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with MOLECH from among their people. This is how serious this thing is. So if you're listening to your shucking job Christian pastor saying, hey, don't worry about the law, everything was all fulfilled in the blood of Jesus Christ, right? All you got to do today is confess with your mouth and believe in your heart, right? They say believe in your heart, right? Confess with your mouth and believe right here in your heart, and all things will be okay. The Old Testament, the law, all that's done away with. But make sure you be sure to pay your tithes, though. Be sure to leave an offering in the cup, right? Matter of fact, Deacon Usher, lock that door. Don't let nobody out until they put at least $20 inside the bucket. And everybody standing on the stage, y'all got to put $100 in the bucket. That part of the law still stands, right? But the part of the law where it says don't make no mention of the name of other deities, don't worry about that. You know, all that's done away with. So you see the hypocrisy in the Christian church. You see the hypocrisy amongst Christianity, Christian sanity. Their sanctuaries were secluded and guarded. The high places of Topheth, they were the original private islands of sin. I'm going to repeat that again. Their sanctuaries, because there are modern day sanctuaries right now to this day. And we're going to get into that in this presentation, that nothing has changed from the ancient time of us calling on B-A-A-L to the present time with the cult of B-A-A-L and M-O-L-O-C-H. Their sanctuaries were secluded, meaning they were hidden. Bohemian Grove, Epstein Island, right? You had these same sanctuaries in the ancient world where they would offer up children for sacrifice. Their sanctuaries were secluded and guarded. The high places of Topheth, they were the original private islands of sin. So it don't just start with Diddy, right? It don't start with Diddy and Love Island. That's not the beginning of it right there. It's always been the Diddy Love Island. It's always been Epstein Island, Little St. James Island, right? The unholy trinity: sacrifice, secrecy, and sex. Don't that sound like something familiar right now that goes on today? Sacrifice, secrecy, and sex. The Apocrypha text, once deemed too revealing, and see, this is the problem right here. Christianity only believes that you should follow the last half of the book, St. Matthew to Revelation. And then out of St. Matthew to Revelation, you only really got to just read St. John 3:16 and Galatians 3:28, right? Because everything else, you know, is good reading. It's a good novel, but it don't really pertain to your salvation, because you see, for God so loved the world, right? Neither Jew nor Gentile, right? That's all you really got to worry about, brother. You know, we get these, I tell you, man, we get these computer smiths, these programs that come up to us in camp, regurgitating the same thing over and over and over again. When the scriptures is a deep book with a whole bunch of mysteries in it that you can't possibly understand if you can't start first and foremost in the Old Testament, right? We ain't up here talking about skin color, right? We're not just up here talking about no skin color and nationality and only the Israelites are going to make it and stuff like that. Look, if you are a wicked Israelite participating in rituals and occult magic, you got a special place for you in the lake of fire, right along with Esau, right along with Ham, right right along with all the wicked people of the world, of the earth, right? The Apocrypha text, once deemed too revealing, paints a fuller picture of the cult's depravity, right? It describes a secret society given over to its darkest impulses. That's what this thing is right here. Secret societies and cults. Who is your cult leader? Is it Bryce Crawford, right? Is it Elijah the fake prophet, right? Is it Jeffrey Epstein? Is it Donald Trump? Who's your cult leader? What type of sacrifices are you doing in the name of Donald Trump? What type of sacrifices are you doing in the name of Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, right? Wisdom of Solomon connects the central rites to a vortex of societal cancer. For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites, they kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but neither one slew another treacherously, or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury. For the worshiping of idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 23 to 27. You see that? It says, for the worshiping of idols not to be named. This is why we should not be saying Lord. This is why we should not be ending our prayer with Amen. Substitute that with hallelujah. Substitute that with Selah, rest, which means rest. How are you going to say at the end of your prayer, right? So be it. Make that sound not arrogant. Make that sound not egotistical when you're talking to the Most High. Most High, I need a new job, right? My children is getting on my nerves. I need for you to take that stress off me. So be it. Make it happen. You heard me? Get to it, Most High. That's literally what you're saying. Get to it, Most High. This is the blueprint for an enduring conspiracy of the powerful, defined by a shadowy elite bound in an unholy covenant, secluded private sanctuaries for their rites, secret ceremonies, and strange revelings, the ritual consumption of the young and innocent, a culture of extreme sexual license and perversions, reliance on the complicity and silence of the wider society. The first step to breaking this right here is stop using those names, Lord. Stop using those names, which means Amen, which means Balmoloch, because you are pretty much being complacent, and you are pretty much comfortable in the whole matter of offending the Most High. Part 2, a glimpse behind the veil, the phantom cult. In 2016, the mask of the modern world slipped. A light was shown into the shadows, revealing the bizarre creation of artist Marina Abramovic, spirit cooking. So now this is what it's going to get. It's going to get pretty heavy right here, because what we're showing you right here is that there is a cult called BAAL, and they do something called spirit cooking, right? Its recipes are a liturgy of the grotesque, the unmistakable language of ritual. Mix fresh breast milk with fresh sperm. This is literally what these societies do. This is what you call spirit cooking. Fresh morning urine sprinkled over nightmare dreams. This dark art was thrust into the light by a WikiLeaks email inviting John Podesta, the heart of the Clinton political machine, to a spirit cooking dinner. Now this is the elite right here. This is the elite doing something that was done in the ancient world still to this day. Nothing ever stopped. Remember what we first said. This has been an unbroken chain of events. You call on the deity, and then you start participating in the ritualistic rites of passage with these deities, right? And shalom there in the chat. Shalom in the chat. Please like or dislike, share, subscribe, hit the notification, because we're going to be coming at you with a lot of deep, high-powered topics, right? Says this dark art thrust into the light of a WikiLeaks emails inviting John Podesta, the heart of the Clinton political machine, to a spirit cooking dinner. Ask yourself, why is it that the elite, right, people that are in Congress, people that are in the Senate, right, they are being invited to a spirit cooking dinner? This is heavy right here. It says the public's visceral reaction gave birth to a terrifying narrative, a powerful satanic cult operating at the highest levels of the American establishment. It was the horrified cry of a people who suspected just for a moment that their leaders were going a whoring after MOLOCH. You see that? We are going a whoring. The leaders are going a whoring after these deities, which causes you to go a whoring after these deities, right? Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, right? Against spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's look at this. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. This is the foundational lie you have been taught to ignore. You are conditioned to see the faces of on your screen, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, John Podesta, etc., as the beginning and the end of the conflict. You are encouraged to choose a side. Pick which one you want to do. You want to be left wing, you want to be right wing. Democrat, you want to be Republican. When they're under the same authority, which is Satan. USA, under Satan's authority. As the beginning and the end of the conflict, you are encouraged to choose a side, to believe, to just believe, brother, believe, sister, right? One is the hero and the other the villain. This is a grand and deliberate misdirection, which means what? They're finessing you. They're playing you. Everything that they say is nothing but a whole bunch of cap. That's all it is. The verse screams the truth. These figures are merely the flesh and blood avatars, the human mask worn by the true combatants. They are the vessels, the puppets dancing on a stage while the real war rages in the shadows behind them. To hate Trump or to despise Clinton is to waste your energy wrestling with a glove while ignoring the hidden hand within it. I repeat that. Clinton is to waste your energy. So you're wasting your energy when you go to the voting booth, right? You are wasting your energy when you put so much attention into Fox News, CNN, going to protests and rallies and stuff like that. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. Wrestling with a glove while ignoring the hidden hand within it. And what's the hidden hand? The hidden hand is on that left-hand side, which is the spiritual demon Satan. While ignoring the hidden hand within it, they are participants, yes, but they are not the source of the power. They wield or the darkness they serve. They are the public-facing managers of a far older, far more sinister enterprise. I mean, it's a lot deeper than what you think it is, right? We can't just be looking at this thing on a cardinal level. This thing is spiritual. It's always been spiritual. Before it goes to cardinal, it's spiritual. It starts off spiritual. But against principalities, what is a principality? It is not a person. It is a structure of power, an ancient and enduring architect of culture. It is a ruling spirit, a foundational entity that does not lie when its human representative does. Think of the Clinton political machine. It is not merely two people, but a vast shadowy network of influence, favors, and secrets that has persisted for decades. It is a principality. These are the ancient bloodlines, the secret societies, the invisible committees committees that determine the fate of nations from behind closed doors. They are the true architects of the long game, installing their chosen agents of flesh and blood into positions of power to carry out agendas that span generations. So this has been a span of ideals. It's been a span of agency ever since the days of Cain. That's how far this thing goes back. This thing literally goes back to the Garden of Eden right here. It's nothing new. They just changed the name and just went a little more secluded, and they put a veil over your face where you don't see what's going on right here. The Most High, he informed us of these things happening. And he says, don't learn the way of the heathen, because it has always been like this. There's nothing new under the sun. They are the entities of whom loyalty is sworn in secret oaths. The fight is not against a candidate. It is against the unseen dynasty, the enduring principality that anoints them, against powers. If principalities are the architects, then powers are the mechanisms of enforcement. These are the institutions that can capture and weaponize. They are the global financial systems, the intelligence agencies that operate without oversight, the media conglomerates that craft the reality you perceive, and the tax-exempt foundations that launder influence and ideology under the guise of philanthropy. This is the domain where the true wrestling occurs. The powers are the machinery that can deplatform a dissenter, rig an election, start a war, or bury a story. When you see the system protect its own, you are witnessing the raw strength of these powers. Right? Against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Here the abstract becomes terrifyingly concrete. If the principalities are the unseen kings, these are their chosen viceroys of earth, the high priests of the profane. And no one in modern history has embodied the title ruler of the darkness more perfectly than Jeffrey Epstein. This is actually it being shown today, right? This is actually shown the worship and the sacrifice of children done today through Jeffrey Epstein, right? Through what's that guy's name? I think Roman Polanyi. I can't think of that devil's name, but he ran off somewhere to a different country when he was finna be put on trial for messing around with little children, right? This is the rulers of darkness. This is talking about Diddy. We are related. You have to make this word become personal, right? Because it is personal. These things are literally happening to this day. It says he was not a depraved predator. He was a nexus, a king of a shadow realm whose currency was blackmail and whose kingdom was an island temple of sin. His flight logs and his friendship show that this darkness is bipartisan and global. It touches all sides. His association with figures like Bill Clinton and his eerie connection to Donald Trump, who once flew on his jet and later banned from him from Mar-a-Lago, do not show a simple partisan divide. They show how pervasive this dark world is. A web meant to ensnare anyone who gets close to the highest peaks of power. Epstein was a broker, a gatekeeper, a man who ruled a hidden corner of the world through the systematic application of its darkest appetites. He was a literal ruler of darkness. And this is just not only Jeffrey Epstein. These are all these celebrities that you follow after, right? These are all the musicians, the sports players. These are all the rulers in dark places and high places that have influence over your mind. Against spiritual wickednesses, high places. This is the final horrifying revelation. What is the work of these rulers? What is the worship demanded by these principalities? It is spiritual wickedness. And where is it performed? In high places. You see what's going on here? When you call upon these names who are not the Most High, this is who you are giving your power to. This is who you are giving your energy to when you break the Sabbath day to go freak off in Hollywood. You are giving your energy, giving your time, giving your ultimate sacrifice, which is your body, to LORD, which is BAAL, which is MOLOCH. This is what you are giving your time to. That's your offering right there. This is not about sin in a distance, eternal heaven. It is about profane acts being committed in the penthouse of Manhattan, the secluded estates of the powerful, the back rooms of political galas, and on private islands like Little St. James. This is spirit cooking. The leaked emails of John Podesta provided a nauseating glimpse into this very reality. The casual invitation to a ritual involving blood, semen, and breast milk was not just bizarre art. These are things that they were always doing. This is what happens when they do voodoo, when they practice things like obeah. This is that dark occult magic. All they do is just change the name of it. It was a window into a spiritual wickedness that the elite considered recreation. It is a dark liturgy, a profane sacrament that inverts all that is sacred. It is the practice of the cult, the bonding ritual performed in the high places of society by the rulers of the darkness. It is the worship of the profane that solidifies the pact with the ancient principalities they serve. The whispered name of the demon. So let's look at this. A second, far more damning clue surfaced from the same trove of emails. This was not aesthetics or art. This was a name. In private correspondence, and you can look this up right here. In private correspondence that landed in John Podesta's inbox, the name MOLOCH appeared. This is literally was a WikiLink of WikiLeaks leak of Hillary Clinton's email, where she mentioned the name of MOLOCH in one of her emails. Defenders dismiss it as mere metaphor, but one must ask, why choose the name of a Canaanite demon whose defining characteristics is the consumption of children? It was a Freudian slip from the abyss. And actually, let me see, because I don't think I put the email up on the screen. Let me actually see if I can pull this email up from Hillary Clinton, showing you that they still participating in this. Let me see, Hillary Clinton. Let me see, can I pull that email up? Baba Kashar. Let me see. Bear with me a second. Okay. Actually, I got it. Let me pull my screen up and share my screen real quick so you can see this. So the viewers can see this. Let me see. All right. Let me share this real quick. All right. Bear with me. I'm going to share this email from Hillary Clinton. Let me see. See, share screen. Here we go. All right, let me make it a little bit bigger. Let me see, where's this? Zoom in. Let me blow it up some. Let me blow this up. All right, let's look at this. So this is a WikiLeaks email from back in 2009 from Hillary Clinton. And let's see where she used, okay, right here, unclassified. And you can pull this up yourself right here, right? You can pull this up yourself. But it says right here at the bottom, it says unclassified U.S. Department of State case number F2014-20439, doc number C057-64911, date 7/31/2015. It says, with fingers crossed, the old rabbit's foot out of the box in the attic. I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to MOLOCH. Now ask yourself, why would a former first lady, right, Hillary Clinton, you know, a presidential nominee, why would she be saying that? Why would she be using MOLOCH? Because what we're showing you is that nothing ever changed. It says, with fingers crossed, the old rabbit's foot out of the box in the attic, I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to MOLOCH. And this is who people put their trust in, right? This is who people put their equity, their stock into. Let's go back. It says, it was a Freudian slip from the abyss, a crack in the facade that revealed the nomenclature of the demand. The phantom court noun had its patron demon. The narrative was complete. The elite cable, the Clinton inner circle, right? Because remember, it's a bloodline. This thing's a bloodline. This is not no tinfoil hat conspiracy, right? This is reality right here. This is things that the global elite literally do. The secret rite, spirit cooking, the unholy purpose, child trafficking, and ritual abuse. The name of the beast, MOLOCH, which is found in the scriptures. When it says, do not allow your seed to pass through the fire, for MOLOCH. This is literally it happening right here. While the world was told to ignore the phantom cult, a very real high priest presided over the profane kingdom. Financier Jeffrey Epstein was the architect of a modern day cult of MOLOCH. This stuff can be looked up. It can be researched. His private island, Little St. James, was his temple, the biblical Tophet reborn. The island's architecture speaks to its unholy purpose. Its centerpiece, a bizarre windowless temple. And actually, let me pull that up because I don't believe I put this in the show as well, the slideshow as well. Let me pull this temple up so you can see this stuff. Let me pull this up so I can share my screen on this one. Bear with me. Let me show you some images of this. See, share. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, let me share my screen on this. So I want y'all to check this out. Look at this right here. Let me get a good one. So look at this. This is Jeffrey Epstein. That's his island. This is the temple of MOLOCH right here. This is mimicked after a temple that I believe is in Turkey. I believe it's in Turkey, but it was called MOLOCH temple. This comes from an ancient relic right here. Up here he has, I believe it's an owl somewhere in the yard. He has an actual statue of MOLOCH, showing you that these things never stop occurring. It has been an unbroken chain. So when you say LORD, the elite know what you're saying. When you say AMEN, the elite know what you're saying. You must know what you're saying. You must learn to stop saying these things because you are invoking these spirits. That's why the Most High, he told us directly, do not let these things come out of your mouth. Make no mention of them. You will only find this in the Old Testament, which Christianity tells you is done away with. Why would they want to tell you to why would Christianity want to tell you that, hey, you know, you can use it, you can say this? Why would they want to do that? They will want to do that first and foremost because they are ignorant of the law. They will want to do that because the people that are over their religion, the popes, right? These the high profile mega churches and stuff like that, they have a vested interest in you staying in total darkness, right? That's what we come into play at. That's where the Israelites come into play. The Israelites come to bring the light to the stage. We come to shine the light in the darkness, right? It says the island's architecture speaks to its unholy purpose. Its center piece, a bizarre windowless temple, a cube painted in jarring stripes, topped with a golden dome, its heavy door locked from the outside. This was the unholy of holies. Within this sanctuary, the cult was established. High priest Jeffrey Epstein, the untouchable God King, high priestess Ghislaine Maxwell, the chief ruler of offerings, the sacrifices, vulnerable girls lured by false promises, the congregation, presidents, princes, and plutocrats, bound by shared secrets and blackmail. This is a secret society. All the acts is trust. The horrors of Epstein Island were not random. They were a systematic, repeatable ritual, a dark liturgy of abuse. The sacrament of MOLOCH was to pass the seed through the fire. The sacrament of Epstein was to pass the innocence of a child through the defiling fires of his lust. The process was brutally consistent. The harvest. Maxwell identified and procured the vulnerable. The initiation. The massage. A standardized ritual assault by Epstein to mark the victim as property. Now, when you're going into things like, let's say like Hindu, right? And you're going into things like yoga and stuff like that. What I found out is a lot of these yoga positions, right? These positions like the downward dog and the sundial and the rising goat and stuff like that. All those were positions that were given to their different deities, right? So when he had things like different massages and stuff like this, and different points of massage and different stretches and all that type of stuff, this is literally the occult magic that's been practiced for decades, generations and generations and generations. Unstopped, unchecked. The perpetuation. Victims were forced to participate in the abuse of newer girls, chaining them in shame and ensuring a steady supply of offerings. His lairs were decorated with icons of his faith, trophies of captured souls, constant reminders of the innocent that fueled his enterprise. This was a cathedral of sin. Right. So I'm reading inside the chat right here. Malak means king, right? That's a different what can I say? A different dialect of it, right? So Malak means king, but MOLECH in this manner right here, how they're saying it, what they're calling on, they're not calling upon the king Hamashiach Yahushai. They're not calling upon that king. They're calling on that king of the underworld, right? They're calling on the king Baal. So it all matters on the context that you're using it. We see that Jeffrey Epstein on Epstein Island, right? He's not calling on Hamashiach Yahushai. He's not calling on the king Hamashiach Yahushai. He's calling on the spiritual demon Satan. That's who he's calling on, right? Because I believe Malak is spelled Malk, if I'm not mistaken, right? This is Molech or Moloch, right? That's the name of a deity. The biblical curse falls heaviest on those who hide their eyes. Epstein's cult thrived for decades because the powerful willfully hid their eyes. The flight logs of his Lolita Express read like a guest list for Davos presidents, royals, and billionaires, provided an impenetrable shield of legitimacy. He said, according to the Lashwan Kadash, is spelled the same. I'm going to have to look into that. But even if it is spelled the same, the one that they're using in the Old Testament, right, that the Most High told us not to make mention of, that's not talking about Hamashiach Yahushai. So this is where context comes into play. because that word BAALMOLOCH, these all mean LORD. So it's the same thing. So they're not talking about Hamashiach Yahushai our king. They're not talking about King David being the king. They're talking about a deity being the king. So if it is spelled the same in the Lashwan, I have to look into that. They're not in context talking about the same thing. They're talking about whatever deity of that nation that they follow, that they worship, right? But the water for bringing that to the screen though. It says blackmail through hidden cameras was the modern technology version of a blood oath, ensuring the cable would never break. The ultimate proof, the infamous 2008 non-prosecution agreement. Federal prosecutors granted immunity to Epstein and his co-conspirators. It was not a failure of justice. It was the system protecting its own, allowing the high priest to continue in sacrifices unabated. Well, yeah, you can say, if you say BAL means, he said on, if you say BAL means LRD, then MOLECH means king. BAAL is actually a deity. Let me show you when they say BAL, let me show you what they are actually calling upon. Let me show you this picture because I had that in one of my previous lessons. This is who BAAL is. Let me show you this. I'm going to share my screen. All right. This is who they're talking about right here. This right here will be BAAL. This does not look like the king of the Israelites. This doesn't look like Hamashiach Yahushai. This is literally who you're calling upon right here when BAL comes out. When you say, let me put in, this who comes up when you type in MOLOCH. This is who comes up right here. Right? This is who they're calling upon, right? This is who you're calling upon when you use these names right here. This is why we call upon the Most High, Yahweh, to make a difference between it. To make a separation between it. It says the masks have fallen. The phantom cult of spirit cooking and the real life cult of Jeffrey Epstein are not separate phenomena. They are two manifestations of the same ancient deity. So it's literally the same thing. To your point that you're making in the chat. One was a shadowy narrative the public was ridiculed for believing. The other was the material fact that proved the most paranoid fears were not paranoid enough. The biblical condemnation are not metaphors. They are warnings. The question is no longer if these practices continue, but where the next high place is hidden and whose names will be found on the next set of flight logs. The whispers from the island of St. James have joined as ancient chorus cries out from the fires of the Topheth. The work of the beast continues in the shadows, and covenant of MOLOCH remains to this day unbroken. And I had also another slide from my previous presentation about that word MOLCH. It was written actually, I believe in the Phoenician on a Tophet. I probably won't be able to find the slider like right off the top of my right off the back. Let me see if I can Google it real quick. Man, that's not it. Let me see. Yeah, I won't be able to find it right off the back. But I have in the previous class that I did, the previous lesson, right? It shows that actually written inside of the Hebrew, or no, not the Hebrew. It might be the Phoenician Sanskrit. I think it was written, but that name was actually written on a piece of dang, had a brain freeze. Artifact. Yes, they found some artifacts with that name written on the MLK, right? Or MOLOCH, and it said MLK, and it was written inside the Phoenician. Okay, so I want to show y'all something real quick, right? Because this thing, everything has a connection. I want to show y'all the Israelite and Missy, and I want you to kind of ask yourself, where are all these Israelites going to? Are they being taken, and is their blood being used to continue these rituals that have been done of old of the ancient world? I'm going to show y'all this website right here. You know, last week I had said that when we see people that stuff that looks strange, you have to mention this type of stuff, right? Because they are literally using our children in child sacrifice, right? So this is a website called Black and Missing. Let me make it bigger. This is a website called Black and Missing. You know, each one of us, you know, we are mandated reporters of our nation. We have to literally watch over our people, right? Because we are just going missing at any given time. And we're being sacrificed to these cults, right? Let me see. Here we go. So look at this. So this is just only in California alone. Where is Sister Latrice Belton? Where is she? Kennedy Blackwell. Zahara Boyston. Where's our Israelite sisters at? Why are there so many missing that they had to make a separate website for us called Black and Missing? Look at this. Gillian Clark has been missing since 1/15/2024. You know, we have to really look deep into this. Where are all our sisters going to? Are they being used in ritual sacrifices? Got brothers up here, right here. What are they doing with our people? Right? Okay, let me look at the comments real quick. Check it. Let me go over a few of the comments. So you're saying that you can't say LORD because it means BAL, but I can king when MOLECH means king. I don't get it. Okay, let me show you something real quick. Let's go to the book of... Let me pull this up on the screen. So what we're saying is these names right here are deities that shouldn't be said, right? You can say king. Let me pull this up. Let me share my screen again. Share screen. So right here. This is what the Most High is saying. This is Exodus 23 and verse 13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect. That means to be aware, right? Be cautious. Understand, study this thing. That's what it means, right? It says, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. So we cannot make the mention of the name of other gods. Right? Now I'm going to pull up this I'm going to pull up what you're talking about for as king. Let me pull that out of the Hebrew. Give me 1 second. Because the name BAAL, it pops up as being a deity. Bear with me 1 second. Let me pull this up for you, brother. My screen's just loading up. Just give me a second. Okay, you said, so what's the definition? I'm pulling that right up right now, brother. Let me see. So I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna go to 2 Kings. Actually, no. Let's go to. I'm gonna go to Leviticus 20 real quick. Let me see, Leviticus 20. Okay. Okay. So this is from H4432, right? This is from H4432. And the name right there, it says Molek, right? And it says Molk. It says that is king. It says the chief deity of the Ammonites. Molech. That's literally what it says. Let me show you. Like I said, I can show you on screen. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can show you this on screen. Because I don't got this. I don't have this app on my Hold on. Give me a second. Let me share this. Let me show this to you. Take this down. Visual effect. All right. Check this out. I don't know if you can see this or not. Look at this. You see that? That's from the concordance right there. It does say, it says king, but what else does it say beside it? Chief deity of the Ammonites, right? Chief deity of the Ammonites. So I hope there's that. I hope that helps you out a little bit, brother. I hope that helps you out a little bit right there. It says, I thought there are no vowels in the Lashwan Kadash. So, you know, we had that conversation before where it says, I thought there was about the vowels being inside there. So you wouldn't say things like, for instance, right? You wouldn't say, let's take knife. You wouldn't say knife. The vowels are silent. Like how the K in knife is silent. Like you wouldn't say knife. It's just knife. The vowels are silent. So when we say things like, you wouldn't say Basham or Bashim. You'll say Basham, right? So the vowels, I'm not a Lashwan Kadash expert and everything on there, but these vowels, they will be silent. You have to put the vowels there, but they're silent, right? Now, I'm going to look on that word real quick, king. King, let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that up real quick. All right. All right, 1428. Let me see what that is. What that says. Genesis 14. Okay. Okay. So now I pulled up king again, right? This is from Genesis chapter 14:8, because you have to really understand words in Hebrew. Just one slight letter could change literally the whole meaning of a word. I see a lot of Israelites, they spell words together. They'll spell Hamashiach all as one word, right? When you say things like, if you spell things how you think it sounds, you could be spelling something totally different and calling on an ancient deity. That's literally the case with that word Moloch. So I'm going to show you the word Malak, which means king, and Moloch, how just the slight of a letter changes can literally make you say a deity's name. So let me share my screen again. Check this out, brother. So it's not the same, what you're saying. Let me take this off real quick. All right. So this will be the word how we will say king right here. You see how I spell different? Melek means a king, king royal. Now remember the other definition that we had used, it was talking about an Ammonite deity. So when you say Moloch, that's who you're calling on. When you say this word right here, Malak, you're talking about a king of our royalty. So, like I said, I'm not a Lashwan Kadash scholar and stuff. I try to get as close to make sure I pronounce the names as correct as possible, because I don't want to be in sin. I don't want to be in error, right? So You have to be patient when you're saying using the Hebrew. You have to make sure you're really saying the right things, like you're literally spelling it. You're saying it how it's supposed to be said and spelling it out the correct way. I speak Hebrew. I speak a little bit. That's not my strong area. Hebrew is not my strong area, right? I'll be the first one to say that. It's not my strong. I could do better. I can work at it more. It's not my strong area at this time, but I do understand the phonetics of words, right? I do understand that, right? So yeah, Lashwan Kadash is false. It's not a language. Now that delves into a different topic right there, right? About Lashwan Kadash being a false language or whatever. That's for a different that's for a different lesson right there. Like I said, Lashwan Kadash. I know the prayers. I know some greetings and everything. But I will not be the first one to say that that's my strong point. Is the Lashwan Kadash, right? In the end, the Most High is going to correct us. We're talking about the English language right here. We're talking about not using MOLOCH, not using the term MELEK. So if you want to say, okay, you probably speak the modern Hebrew, the Yiddish or whatever. So if you want to say, okay, in Yiddish, right, that word will be MELEK for king and MOLOCH for being a deity. If you want to look at it that way. Either way, don't say it. That's what the Most High says. Don't be circumspect and don't let the names of these other deities come out of your mouth, right? So, hey, you've been warned, you've been told, the blood is off my hand. If you want to find a way to use it and justify it with the Most High, well, hey, like you say, so be it, right? So, that is pretty much the end of my my presentation. You said I'm actually trying to help. It's time to learn Hebrew. Okay, well, that's cool. You have if you got a YouTube channel and you teach the Hebrew and stuff like that, go ahead and put it into the chat. I'll check it out. I'll check out your channel and everything like that. Put it into the chat. Each one teach one so we can reach one, right? If you think you got the true Hebrew and stuff like that, I'll take a look at it. We'll run it through. We'll run it through the elders and stuff like that. If you got the true Hebrew. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is getting our people off of worshiping idols. That's what this lesson is about. Getting our people off of worshiping idols, getting our people to learn how to fear the Most High. That's what this lesson is about, right? Next week's lesson is going to be a real touchy one, right? Next week's lesson is going to be one that a lot of people in our culture and the culture of America don't like talking about, right? But we're going to dive deep into it. And that topic is going to be, can I have another wife? And if you can have another wife, what's the woman going to say? Can I have another husband? Right? So we're going to delve deep into the history of polygyny, monogamy, and relationships next week, right? So tune in next week. I'm thinking about changing the time, maybe making it 8 o'clock or so. But we'll see though. I want y'all to tune in, like, dislike, share, subscribe, right? Because we got a lot of information coming to you. Right? A lot of stuff coming to you. So with that, we got the next class that will be next week would be next week's class, or next class will be this week with Elder Priest Awam. Tune into that. It's going to be on the 4th day, and then he has another class on the 6th day. Then we're out the camp. His class starts at 7 p.m. Right? So with that, I want to say Kwam Abanau Yahweh. And you can say this inside your modern Yiddish if you would like, right? Kwam Abanau Yahweh, Kwam Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and Kwam Yasha'Allah. And I will see, most I will, and I'll see you next week.